Hey guys. Tonight, we're heading to a grand old house with quiet footsteps, locked doors, and secrets behind every curtain. If you enjoy this sort of thing, a gentle like and subscribe would mean the world to me, but only if it feels right. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is in your part of the world, so drop a comment if you'd like to share that little piece of your evening with me. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft hum, and let's drift back in time. The darkness is absolute when you wake. No gray dawn light seeps through the narrow window of your attic room, no gentle stirring of birds outside. Just the deep, cold silence of a house that breathes with the weight of sleeping souls. Your body knows the time without need for clock or bell. 4:30 in the morning. Always 4:30. You lie still for just a moment, feeling the thin mattress beneath you, stuffed with horsehair that has long since compressed into lumps and valleys. The blanket is coarse wool, scratchy against your chin, but it holds what little warmth your body has managed to gather through the night. The floorboards above your head creak as someone else stirs. Sarah, perhaps, or Mary. The other housemaids beginning their own silent dance with the darkness. Your feet find the cold floor. The wood is smooth and worn, polished by countless bare feet over the years. You reach for the washstand, feeling your way in the dark, your fingers finding the familiar shape of the basin, the pitcher beside it. The water is cold, shockingly so, but you splash it on your face anyway, feeling the sleep wash away with the icy droplets. You dress in the dark, your hands knowing every button, every tie, every fold of the uniform that marks you as what you are. The black dress, practical and severe, with its white apron tied tight around your waist. The white cap that covers your hair completely, pinned so that not a strand shows. Your shoes, black and sturdy, with laces you tie by touch alone. Everything in its place, everything as it should be. The narrow staircase creaks as you descend. Each step is a whisper of wood against wood, a sound you've learned to muffle with careful placement of your feet. The servants' staircase is steep and narrow, carved into the bones of the house like a secret passage. Your hand trails along the wall for guidance, feeling the rough plaster, the places where other hands have worn smooth grooves over the years. The kitchen is your first destination. Mrs. Whitmore, the cook, is already there, her large frame moving with surprising grace around the great wooden table that dominates the center of the room. She nods as you enter, a brief acknowledgement that requires no words. The kitchen is warmer than the rest of the house, heat radiating from the great cast iron range that never fully dies, even through the night. You begin with the fires. Always the fires. Your hands are already reaching for the coal scuttle, feeling the weight of the black lumps inside. The drawing room first, then the morning room, then the library. Each fireplace must be cleaned of yesterday's ashes, the grate swept clear, fresh kindling arranged just so. The coal must be placed with care, not too much, not too little. The art of making a fire that will catch quickly and burn steadily is one you learned in your first week, after too many mornings of smoke-filled rooms and angry words from Mr. Harrington, the butler. The drawing room is vast and cold, filled with furniture draped in white sheets like ghosts. Your footsteps echo on the parquet floor as you cross to the marble fireplace. The ornate mantelpiece holds photographs in silver frames, faces of the family staring out with the serious expressions that photography demands. You don't look at them as you work. Servants don't look. Servants don't see. That's the first rule and the most important one. The ashes are still warm from yesterday's fire. You scoop them carefully into the ash bucket, trying not to create clouds of gray dust that will settle on the furniture and require more cleaning later. The grate is black iron, ornate with curlicues and decorative flourishes that catch the ash and must be cleaned with a small brush. Your hands are already gray with dust, your apron marked with smudges that will have to be washed later. The kindling goes in first, thin pieces of wood arranged like a nest. Then the coal, piece by piece, building a structure that will allow air to flow and fire to catch. You strike the match, the sulfur smell sharp in the cold air, and touch it to the paper beneath the kindling. The flames catch slowly, reluctantly, but they catch. You wait, crouched by the fireplace, until you're certain the fire will hold. Only then do you move to the next room. The morning room is smaller, more intimate, with wallpaper that shows roses climbing trellises. The fireplace here is smaller too, but the routine is the same. Ashes out, grate cleaned, fresh fuel arranged. The match strikes, the paper catches, the flames begin their slow climb. You can hear the house beginning to stir above you. Footsteps on the floor above, the distant sound of water being poured. The family will be waking soon, and everything must be ready. The library is last, a room lined floor to ceiling with leather-bound books that smell of old paper and binding glue. The fireplace here is grand, marble carved with scenes of hunting and dogs. You work quickly but carefully, aware that time is passing, that the schedule of the house moves forward with or without you. The fire catches on the first try, flames dancing behind the brass screen that protects the precious books from stray sparks. Back to the kitchen, where Mrs. Whitmore is already beginning the morning bread. The smell of yeast and flour fills the air, mixing with the coal smoke that clings to your dress. She glances up as you enter, her round face flushed from the heat of the oven. Water next. Always water. The family will want their washing water, hot and plentiful, carried up the servants' stairs to the bedrooms above. You fill the large copper kettle, feeling the weight of it grow as the water rises. The pump handle is smooth and worn, polished by countless hands. You work it steadily, feeling the resistance as the water rises from the well below the house. The kettle goes on the range, where it will heat slowly while you attend to other tasks. The breakfast trays must be prepared, each one specific to its intended recipient. The master takes his tea strong and black, with 2 lumps of sugar and a splash of cream. The mistress prefers her tea weak, with lemon and honey. The children, when they're home from school, drink chocolate, sweet and rich, with extra cream. You polish the silver teapot, feeling the weight of it in your hands. The surface reflects a distorted version of your face, stretched and strange. The sugar bowl, the cream pitcher, the delicate cups with their hand-painted flowers. Each piece must be perfect, unmarked by fingerprints or water spots. The silver cleaner has a sharp, chemical smell that makes your eyes water, but you work steadily, methodically, until each piece gleams. The kettle begins to whistle, a low sound that grows to a shriek. You lift it from the range, feeling the heat through the handle even with your apron wrapped around your hand. The water is poured into the large jugs that will be carried upstairs. Steam rises from the surface, warming your face as you work. The morning tray is assembled piece by piece. The silver teapot, filled with the perfectly measured tea leaves and steaming water. The toast rack, with thin slices of bread cut just so, the crusts removed. The butter dish, with butter curled into small, perfect spirals. The jam pot, with its tiny silver spoon. The morning paper, ironed flat and folded precisely. Everything in its place, everything as it should be. The servant's staircase is narrow and steep, and you climb it carefully, balancing the heavy tray. Each step is placed with precision, your body swaying slightly to keep the contents stable. The walls are close on either side, painted a practical brown that doesn't show dirt or wear. The stairs creak under your weight, but softly, as if the house itself has learned to be quiet in the morning hours. The master's bedroom is at the end of the hall, behind a heavy oak door. You knock softly, 3 gentle taps, and wait for the muffled response from within. The room is large and well appointed, with heavy curtains that block out the morning light. The four-poster bed dominates the space, its occupant still hidden beneath the covers. You set the tray on the bedside table, arranging it carefully. The teapot goes just so, the handle turned toward the bed. The cup and saucer are placed within easy reach. The sugar bowl, the cream pitcher, the toast rack. Everything perfectly positioned, as if the arrangement itself is a form of communication, a silent language of service and respect. The master stirs as you work, but he doesn't acknowledge your presence. You are invisible, a ghost in black and white, moving through his world without disturbing it. This is as it should be. This is what you've been trained for, what you've learned to do so well that it seems effortless. Back down the stairs, past the portraits of stern-faced ancestors, past the grandfather clock that ticks steadily in the hallway. The mistress's tray is next, prepared with the same care but different details. Her tea is weaker, her toast cut into triangles instead of rectangles. The morning paper is replaced with correspondence, letters that arrived yesterday and must be read with the morning tea. Her bedroom is smaller than the master's, but more ornate. The wallpaper shows birds and flowers in soft pastels. The furniture is delicate, carved and gilded, with surfaces that must be dusted daily. The bed is draped in silk and lace, the coverlet embroidered with tiny flowers that catch the light. You set the tray on the small table by the window, where the morning light will fall across it just so. The mistress is already awake, sitting up in bed with her hair in curl papers. She doesn't speak as you work, but her eyes follow your movements, watching for any mistake, any sign of carelessness. You've learned to work under this scrutiny, to move with grace and precision even when you feel the weight of her gaze. The empty water jugs must be filled and carried up again. The washstands in each bedroom require fresh water, hot and plentiful. The stairs seem steeper each time you climb them, the jugs heavier with each trip. Your arms ache, but you don't slow down. The schedule of the house waits for no one, and falling behind means working even later into the night to catch up. The guest bedrooms must be checked, even though they're empty. The beds must be made, the surfaces dusted, the fireplaces cleaned and set for the day. You work methodically, room by room, your hands moving automatically through the familiar tasks. Straighten the coverlet, plump the pillows, arrange them just so. Dust the furniture with a soft cloth, being careful not to disturb the small ornaments and photographs that decorate each surface. The children's rooms are different, filled with the chaos of young lives. Toys scattered on the floor, books left open on the desk, clothes dropped where they were removed. You tidy carefully, knowing that too much order will be noticed and criticized. Children are supposed to be children, but servants are supposed to maintain the invisible boundaries that keep the household running smoothly. Downstairs again, where the public rooms await your attention. The morning room, where the family will take their breakfast, must be perfect. The table is set with the second-best china, the silver that's used for everyday meals. The chairs are arranged precisely, each one pulled out just enough to be welcoming but not so much as to seem careless. The drawing room, where the family will receive morning callers, must be immaculate. Every surface dusted, every ornament in its proper place. The piano, with its black lacquered surface that shows every fingerprint. The tables with their delicate legs and marble tops. The sofas and chairs, their cushions plumped and arranged just so. You work with a soft cloth, moving systematically around the room. The dust is constant, creeping in through windows and doors, settling on everything overnight. It's a battle that's never won, only fought again each day. Your hands move in practiced patterns, wiping and polishing, lifting and replacing. The cloth grows gray with dust, and you shake it out the window, watching the motes dance in the morning sunlight. The carpet must be swept with a carpet sweeper, a contraption of brushes and wheels that you push back and forth across the intricate patterns. The sweeper is heavy and awkward, but it does the job efficiently, picking up the crumbs and debris that accumulate throughout the day. You work in overlapping strokes, making sure no area is missed, no dirt left behind. The morning passes in this rhythm of work and movement, upstairs and downstairs, room to room, task to task. Your body moves automatically, your hands knowing what to do without conscious thought. The stairs become familiar friends, their creaks and groans a constant soundtrack to your day. The weight of water jugs, the texture of dust cloths, the resistance of carpet sweepers. All of it as natural as breathing. The breakfast bell rings at 8 o'clock, a clear, sharp sound that echoes through the house. The family gathers in the morning room, their voices a distant murmur through the walls. You can hear the clink of cutlery, the rustle of newspaper, the soft conversation that accompanies the morning meal. But you're not part of that world. You exist in the spaces between, in the quiet moments when the family is occupied elsewhere. The servant's breakfast is taken in the kitchen, standing at the great wooden table while Mrs. Whitmore continues her preparations for the day. Bread and butter, perhaps a bit of bacon if there's extra from the family's meal. Tea, strong and hot, to fuel the long day ahead. The conversation is minimal, tired voices discussing the day's tasks, the weather, the small concerns of people who live in the margins of other people's lives. You eat quickly, aware that time is precious. The morning's work is far from over. The family's breakfast dishes must be cleared and washed. The dining room must be reset for the evening meal. The silver must be polished, the glass must be cleaned, the linens must be checked for spots and stains. The scullery is hot and steamy, filled with the sound of running water and the clatter of dishes. The sink is deep and wide, carved from a single piece of stone. The water is heated in great kettles on the range, poured into the sink where it mingles with soap and suds. You work systematically, washing each piece carefully, checking for spots and stains, drying with clean towels that smell of fresh air and sunshine. The silver requires special attention. Each piece must be washed in water that's not too hot, dried immediately to prevent water spots, polished with a soft cloth to restore its shine. The sugar bowl, the cream pitcher, the serving spoons and butter knives. Each one is a small work of art, engraved with the family's initials, heavy with the weight of quality and tradition. The glass is more delicate still. The crystal wine glasses, the water goblets, the delicate cordial glasses that catch the light and throw it back in rainbow patterns. Each one must be washed by hand, dried carefully, held up to the light to check for spots or streaks. The work is methodical but meditative, the warm water soothing to your hands, the repetitive motions almost hypnotic. The morning room must be cleaned after breakfast, the table cleared and reset. The carpet must be swept again, the furniture dusted, the windows cleaned if they show fingerprints or smudges. The work is never ending, each task completed only to be needed again within hours. The afternoon brings different challenges. The mistress has decided to receive callers, which means the drawing room must be perfect. Every surface must be dusted again, every cushion plumped, every ornament precisely placed. The good china must be brought out, the silver tea service polished until it gleams. The calling cards must be arranged on the silver tray, the visiting book placed just so on the side table. You work quickly but carefully, aware that the mistress will inspect everything before her guests arrive. Her standards are exacting, her eye for detail legendary among the staff. A single water spot on a glass, a cushion placed at the wrong angle, a piece of silver that doesn't gleam quite brightly enough. Any of these could result in sharp words, extra work, or worse. The flowers must be arranged fresh in the drawing room. The gardener has brought in roses from the garden, their perfume sweet and heady in the morning air. You arrange them carefully in the crystal vase, cutting the stems at an angle, removing any leaves that would sit below the waterline. The arrangement must look natural, as if the flowers have simply happened to fall into the perfect configuration. The afternoon callers arrive promptly at 3 o'clock. You can hear their voices in the hallway, the rustle of silk dresses, the tap of walking sticks on the marble floor. The mistress receives them in the drawing room, her voice bright and welcoming. You remain in the kitchen, out of sight but ready to serve tea when the bell rings. The tea service is elaborate, a ritual of precision and timing. The water must be at exactly the right temperature, the tea leaves measured precisely, the steeping time calculated to the minute. The delicate china cups, the thin slices of cake, the tiny sandwiches with their crusts removed. Everything must be perfect, presented with the effortless grace that makes difficult things look easy. You carry the tea tray up the main staircase, moving slowly and carefully. The tray is heavy, loaded with china and silver, and the stairs are steep. Each step is placed with precision, your body swaying slightly to keep everything stable. The hall is lined with portraits of family members, their painted eyes seeming to watch your progress. The drawing room is filled with afternoon light, the windows casting long rectangles of sunshine across the carpet. The ladies sit in their silk dresses, their conversation a gentle murmur of voices. You enter quietly, almost invisibly, setting the tray on the low table between the sofas. The arrangement is crucial. The teapot placed just so, the cups and saucers within easy reach, the sugar bowl and cream pitcher positioned for graceful access. The mistress doesn't acknowledge your presence, but her eyes follow your movements, checking for any sign of clumsiness or mistake. You pour the tea with steady hands, the golden liquid streaming in a perfect arc from pot to cup. The steam rises in delicate spirals, carrying the fragrance of bergamot and Ceylon tea. The ritual is ancient and prescribed, each movement part of a larger dance of hospitality and social grace. You withdraw as quietly as you entered, leaving the ladies to their conversation. The empty tray will be collected later, after the callers have departed and the drawing room returned to its normal state. For now, there are other tasks waiting, other rooms that need attention, other demands on your time and energy. The afternoon wears on in this pattern of service and invisibility. You move through the house like a ghost, present but not seen, essential but not acknowledged. The stairs creak under your feet as you carry linens up and down, the familiar weight of water jugs, the endless cycle of dusting and polishing and cleaning. The laundry room is hot and humid, filled with the steam from large copper kettles and the smell of soap and starch. The washing is done by hand, piece by piece, in great wooden tubs filled with water heated over coal fires. The water is almost too hot to touch, but you work steadily, scrubbing and rinsing, wringing out the excess water with strong hands. The master's shirts require special care, each one washed separately in the finest soap, starched to exactly the right stiffness, pressed with heavy irons heated on the range. The collars must be perfect, the cuffs precisely formed, the front plackets smooth and unwrinkled. You work with the concentration of a craftsman, knowing that a single mistake could result in harsh words or worse. The ironing is done on a large wooden table, padded with old blankets and covered with clean sheets. The irons are heavy, heated on the range until they're almost too hot to handle. You test each one carefully, spitting on your finger and touching it to the surface to judge the temperature. Too hot and the fabric scorches, too cool and the wrinkles remain. The rhythm of ironing is soothing, the smooth glide of hot metal across fabric, the hiss of steam, the gradual transformation of wrinkled cloth into smooth perfection. You work methodically, each garment receiving the attention it deserves, each fold and seam pressed to crisp precision. The afternoon light begins to fade, casting long shadows across the laundry room floor. The work continues, driven by the knowledge that tomorrow will bring the same demands, the same standards, the same need for perfection in every detail. The pile of finished laundry grows slowly, each piece a small victory against the chaos of daily life. Evening approaches with its own set of challenges. The family will dine at 7 o'clock, which means the dining room must be prepared, the silver polished, the crystal cleaned, the table set with mathematical precision. The good china must be brought out, each piece inspected for chips or cracks, each one positioned exactly where it should be. The dining room is formal and imposing, with dark wood paneling and heavy draperies. The table is massive, capable of seating 20 guests, though tonight it will accommodate only the family. The chairs are upholstered in burgundy velvet, their high backs carved with the family crest. The sideboard is laden with silver serving pieces, each one polished to mirror brightness. You work carefully, placing each plate, each glass, each piece of silverware in its proper position. The measurements are precise, each place setting exactly 2 feet from its neighbors, the glasses positioned at the tips of the knives, the napkins folded into perfect triangles and placed to the left of the forks. The centerpiece is a silver epernay filled with fruit, polished until it gleams in the candlelight. The candles must be lit just before the family enters, their flames steady and bright. You strike each match carefully, touching it to the wick and waiting for the flame to catch. The candelabra holds 12 candles, their light casting dancing shadows on the walls. The wax is pure beeswax, expensive but clean burning, without the smoke and smell of cheaper alternatives. The kitchen is a whirlwind of activity as Mrs. Whitmore prepares the evening meal. The range is blazing hot, multiple pots bubbling and steaming, the air thick with the scents of roasting meat and simmering vegetables. You help where you can, peeling vegetables, stirring sauces, carrying heavy pots from stove to table. The service of dinner is a complex choreography, each course timed to perfection, each dish presented with careful attention to appearance and temperature. The soup course comes first, served in delicate porcelain bowls with thin slices of bread. The fish course follows, presented on silver platters with elaborate garnishes. The meat course is the centerpiece, a roast of beef or lamb, carved with ceremony and served with precision. You move between kitchen and dining room, carrying heavy trays, serving dishes, clearing plates. The work is hot and exhausting, the pace relentless. The family's conversation drifts through the walls, their laughter and voices a constant reminder of the world you serve but don't belong to. The wine must be served at exactly the right temperature, the white wines chilled in ice buckets, the red wines at room temperature. The glasses must be filled to exactly the right level, not too full, not too empty. The ritual of wine service is ancient and precise, each movement prescribed by centuries of tradition. The dessert course is the final challenge, delicate pastries and custards that must be presented with artistic flair. The fruit must be arranged just so, the cream whipped to perfect peaks, the sugarwork gleaming like spun glass. You carry each plate with reverence, knowing that hours of work have gone into its creation. The family lingers over coffee and brandy, their voices growing softer as the evening deepens. You clear the table systematically, each piece of china and silver carefully removed and carried to the kitchen. The work is far from over. Every dish must be washed, every glass cleaned, every piece of silver polished and put away. The kitchen is stifling hot, the air thick with steam and the smell of soap. You work steadily at the deep stone sink, your hands moving automatically through the familiar motions. Wash, rinse, dry, stack. The rhythm is hypnotic, the warm water soothing to your aching hands. The silver requires special attention even after the evening meal. Each piece must be washed in water that's not too hot, dried immediately to prevent water spots, polished with a soft cloth to restore its shine. The work is meditative, the soft cloth moving in small circles, the metal gradually taking on its characteristic gleam. The crystal wine glasses are the most delicate task of all. Each one must be washed by hand, dried carefully, held up to the light to check for spots or streaks. The fine crystal rings like a bell when tapped, the sound clear and pure. You handle each glass with reverence, knowing that a single mistake could shatter something irreplaceable. The dining room must be reset for tomorrow's breakfast, the table cleared and laid with different china, simpler silver, everyday napkins. The candles must be extinguished and replaced if they've burned too low. The room must be dusted and straightened, every surface clean and perfect for the morning light. The evening's work stretches late into the night. The family has retired to the drawing room, their voices a distant murmur through the walls. The other servants are finishing their own tasks, the house gradually settling into its nighttime rhythm. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimes 10 o'clock, then 11, then midnight. Your body aches with fatigue, your feet sore from standing on the hard kitchen floor. Your hands are wrinkled from the hot water, stained with silver polish and cleaning compounds. But the work continues, driven by the knowledge that tomorrow will bring the same demands, the same standards, the same need for perfection in every detail. The last dishes are finally washed and put away. The kitchen is cleaned and straightened, the range banked for the night, the floors swept and mopped. The silver is polished and locked away in its cabinet. The china is stacked carefully in the pantry, each piece in its proper place. You climb the narrow servants' staircase one last time, your feet heavy on the worn wooden steps. The house is quiet now, the family long since retired to their comfortable beds. The hallways are dark, lit only by the occasional gas lamp turned low for the night. Your room is small and sparse, furnished with only the necessities. The narrow bed with its thin mattress, the washstand with its chipped basin, the small trunk that holds your few possessions. The window is tiny, offering a view of the servants' courtyard and the mews beyond. You sit on the edge of the bed to remove your shoes, feeling the relief as your feet are freed from the confining leather. Your stockings are damp with perspiration, your uniform stained with the day's work. You remove the white cap from your head, feeling your hair fall free for the first time since dawn. The water in the basin is cold, but you wash your face and hands anyway, feeling the grime and fatigue of the day rinse away. The soap is harsh and practical, not like the delicate lavender soap the mistress uses, but it does its job. You dry yourself with a rough towel, its fibers coarse against your skin. The nightgown is worn and patched, but clean and comfortable. You pull it over your head, feeling the soft cotton settle around your tired body. The bed is narrow and hard, but it's your own space, your own small piece of the world where you can rest without watching eyes or judging voices. You lie down carefully, feeling the mattress sag under your weight. The blanket is thin but warm, and you pull it up to your chin. The pillow is small and flat, stuffed with feathers that have long since lost their loft, but it cradles your head with familiar comfort. The house settles around you, its old timbers creaking and groaning as they cool from the day's warmth. You can hear the distant sound of wind in the chimneys, the occasional footstep from the room above, the soft murmur of voices from somewhere in the servants' quarters. Tomorrow will come with its own demands, its own challenges, its own endless cycle of work and service. The fires will need to be laid again, the water carried up the stairs, the silver polished, the floors swept. The family will wake expecting their world to be perfect, their needs anticipated, their comfort assured. But for now, in this small dark room, you are alone with your thoughts and your exhaustion. The day's work is done, the standards met, the expectations fulfilled. Your body aches, but it's the good ache of honest work, of tasks completed and duties fulfilled. The sounds of the house grow fainter as sleep approaches. The creaking of timbers, the whisper of wind, the distant tick of clocks marking the passage of time. Your breathing grows deeper, your muscles relaxing into the familiar embrace of your narrow bed. The darkness is complete now, wrapping around you like a soft blanket. Your eyes close, your mind drifting away from the concerns of the day, from the demands of tomorrow, from the endless cycle of service and invisibility that defines your world. Sleep comes slowly, gently, carrying you away from the grand house with its secrets and shadows, its upstairs and downstairs worlds, its careful hierarchies and invisible boundaries. In sleep, you are free from the weight of expectation, from the burden of perfection, from the constant awareness of your place in the great machine of domestic life. The night passes quietly, peacefully, with only the sound of your gentle breathing and the soft whisper of wind through the narrow window. The house sleeps around you, its occupants lost in their own dreams, their own private worlds of rest and renewal. And in the morning, it will all begin again. Part 1 word count. 5847. # Part 2. The darkness stirs with familiar purpose. Your body wakes before your mind, muscles tensing with the knowledge that dawn approaches even though no light penetrates the heavy curtains of your small window. The air in your room is cold, sharp with the bite of early morning, and you can hear the wind rattling the loose panes of glass. You rise without hesitation, your feet finding the cold floor with practiced ease. The washstand holds water from yesterday evening, a thin skin of ice formed on the surface overnight. You break through it with your fingers, the cold shocking you fully awake. The water on your face is bitter and clean, washing away the last remnants of sleep. Today the household prepares for guests. Lady Pemberton arrives this afternoon with her daughter and lady's maid, which means additional rooms must be prepared, additional meals planned, additional standards of perfection maintained. The guest wing, closed and sheeted for the past month, must be opened and made ready. You dress in the familiar darkness, your hands moving without conscious thought through the ritual of buttons and ties, pins and laces. The black dress, the white apron, the cap that covers every strand of hair. The uniform that marks you as part of the machinery of service, efficient and invisible. The servant's staircase is particularly narrow in the guest wing, carved as an afterthought into the space between larger rooms. You descend carefully, one hand trailing along the wall for guidance, the other carrying the cleaning supplies that will transform dusty, unused rooms into perfect accommodation for the family's guests. The guest bedroom is larger than the family bedrooms, designed to impress with its height and grandeur. The furniture is covered in white dust sheets, ghostly shapes in the pre-dawn darkness. You begin with the windows, drawing back the heavy curtains to let in what little light the sky offers. The morning is gray and overcast, the kind of autumn day that never quite manages to shed its gloom. The dust sheets come off one by one, revealing mahogany furniture polished to a deep gleam, upholstery in rich burgundy and gold, carpet that must have cost more than you earn in a year. But everything is covered in dust, the fine gray powder that settles on unused things, making them look abandoned and forgotten. You work systematically, room by room, surface by surface. The dust cloth moves in small circles, lifting and trapping the particles that have accumulated during the room's long sleep. The mahogany responds to the treatment, its grain emerging from beneath the coating of neglect, the carved details of the furniture revealing themselves once again. The bed is massive, a four-poster with burgundy curtains that pool on the floor. The mattress must be turned and aired, the linens checked for dampness or spots. You work alone, wrestling with the weight of the horsehair mattress, feeling it resist your efforts to flip it properly. The linens are stored in the cedar chest at the foot of the bed, wrapped in tissue paper and scented with lavender. Each sheet is shaken out and examined, held up to the gray light streaming through the windows. The fabric is fine linen, smooth and crisp, edged with lace that was made by hand. The pillowcases match, their embroidered monograms worked in silk thread that catches what little light filters through the clouds. Making the bed is an art form in itself. The bottom sheet must be stretched tight, the corners folded with hospital precision, not a wrinkle or sag anywhere. The top sheet follows, aligned perfectly with the foot of the bed, the fold turned down exactly so. The blankets are wool, heavy and warm, tucked in with mathematical precision. The coverlet is silk, burgundy and gold in a pattern that matches the curtains, laid over everything with careful attention to its drape and fall. The pillows are down, soft and luxurious, but they must be plumped and shaped just so. The pillowcases slide over them like silk gloves, the embroidered monograms positioned to show to best advantage. The bed, when finished, looks like something from a picture book, perfect and untouchable. The dressing table requires delicate attention. Its surface is marble, white with gray veining, and it shows every fingerprint and water spot. The mirror above it is silvered glass in an ornate frame, reflecting the room in soft, muted tones. The perfume bottles and powder boxes that belong to the room are made of crystal and silver, each one a work of art in miniature. You polish each piece carefully, feeling the weight of quality in your hands. The silver is tarnished from disuse, but it responds to the cleaning cloth, gradually revealing the intricate patterns engraved into its surface. The crystal sparkles as you work, throwing tiny rainbows across the marble surface of the dressing table. The wardrobe is massive, carved from the same mahogany as the rest of the furniture, its doors reaching nearly to the ceiling. Inside, the cedar lining releases its distinctive scent as you open the heavy doors. The hanging space is empty except for a few spare blankets and the musty smell of disuse. You check the drawers at the bottom, pulling each one out to ensure they slide smoothly, wiping away any dust or debris that might soil a guest's belongings. The carpet beneath your feet is thick and soft, a luxury you rarely experience in the servants' quarters. The pattern is intricate, roses and vines woven in deep reds and golds, but even this beautiful surface shows the telltale signs of neglect. You work over it with the carpet sweeper, the brushes picking up months of accumulated dust and debris. The washstand in the corner is marble-topped, with a basin and pitcher of finest porcelain. The water in the pitcher has been standing so long it smells stale, so you carry it downstairs to empty and refill. The stairs creak under your feet as you descend, the empty pitcher light in your hands compared to the heavy water jugs you'll soon be carrying up. The kitchen is bustling with activity. Mrs. Whitmore has arrived early to begin preparations for the expanded household. The cook's assistant, a young girl named Emma, is already peeling vegetables for the evening meal. The scullery maid works over a mountain of pots and pans, her arms deep in soapy water. You fill the pitcher with fresh water from the pump, working the handle steadily until the clear liquid flows freely. The water is cold and sweet, drawn from the well that serves the entire household. You test it with your finger, making sure it's clean and free of any metallic taste that might offend the guests. Back up the stairs, the pitcher now heavy in your hands. The guest room feels warmer already, the morning light stronger through the windows. You fill the basin on the washstand, arranging the towels just so, checking that the soap is fresh and the small mirror above the stand is spotless. The fireplace in the guest room is larger than those in the family bedrooms, designed to heat the spacious room quickly and efficiently. You kneel before it, feeling the cold stone hearth against your knees. The grate is clean but cold, and you begin the familiar ritual of laying the fire. Paper first, twisted into loose knots, then kindling arranged in a careful nest. The coal goes on top, piece by piece, each lump chosen for size and quality. The match strikes with a sharp scratch, the sulfur smell momentarily overwhelming. The paper catches quickly, flames licking up through the kindling, gradually embracing the coal. You wait, crouched before the fireplace, making sure the fire will hold. The warmth on your face is welcome after the cold morning air, and you allow yourself a moment to enjoy it before moving on to the next task. The adjoining sitting room requires the same attention. Dust sheets removed, furniture polished, carpet swept. The room is smaller but more intimate, with a writing desk positioned near the window to catch the morning light. The desk is mahogany like the bedroom furniture, its surface leather tooled and edged with gold. The ink wells are crystal, the blotter fresh and unmarked. You polish the desk with special care, knowing that Lady Pemberton is particular about her correspondence. The wood responds to your attention, the grain emerging from beneath the dust, the carved details sharp and clear. The leather desktop is soft and supple, tooled with an intricate pattern that must have cost a fortune. The small bookshelf beside the desk holds a selection of novels and poetry, leather-bound volumes with gilt lettering on their spines. You dust each one carefully, lifting them to clean the shelf beneath, making sure they're replaced in exactly the same order. The books feel substantial in your hands, their pages edged with gold, their bindings smooth and well cared for. The morning light grows stronger as you work, casting long rectangles across the carpet. The guest wing faces east, so it catches the early sun, but the tall trees in the garden create moving patterns of light and shadow on the walls. You work steadily, methodically, your hands moving in familiar patterns of cleaning and polishing. The guest bathroom is a luxury that still amazes you, even after years of service in this house. The tub is enormous, made of cast iron and lined with porcelain, deep enough for a person to sink into completely. The taps are brass, polished to a golden gleam, and the water they deliver is hot and plentiful thanks to the new boiler system installed last year. You clean the tub with special care, using soft cloths and gentle cleansers that won't scratch the porcelain. The brass taps require individual attention, each one polished until it gleams like gold. The mirror above the washstand is large and clear, reflecting the room in perfect detail. You clean it with vinegar and newspaper, working in small circles until every streak and spot is gone. The towels are thick and soft, a luxury that guests expect but servants rarely experience. You arrange them on the warming rack beside the tub, making sure they're positioned to catch the heat from the radiator. The soap is French milled, scented with lavender, wrapped in tissue paper that crackles as you unwrap it. The guest quarters are nearly ready, but there are still details to attend to. Fresh flowers for the sitting room, cut from the garden and arranged in a crystal vase. The gardener has left roses and chrysanthemums on the kitchen table, their stems wrapped in damp cloth to keep them fresh. You select the best blooms, cutting their stems at an angle, arranging them with an eye for color and form. The crystal vase is heavy and cold, its cut surface throwing rainbows across the wall as you carry it upstairs. The flowers look perfect in the sitting room, their colors complementing the burgundy and gold of the furnishings. Their fragrance is sweet and subtle, masking any lingering mustiness from the room's long closure. The morning passes in this rhythm of preparation and attention to detail. Each surface must be perfect, each arrangement precise, each comfort anticipated. The work is exhausting but satisfying, the gradual transformation of unused space into perfect accommodation for distinguished guests. Mrs. Whitmore calls from the kitchen, her voice carrying up the servants' staircase. The morning tea is ready, and the family will be stirring soon. You make one final check of the guest rooms, ensuring that everything is in place, then hurry downstairs to help with the breakfast service. The kitchen is filled with the sounds and smells of morning preparation. Bacon sizzles in the pan, eggs cook in butter, bread toasts over the fire. The coffee pot bubbles on the range, filling the air with its rich aroma. Mrs. Whitmore moves between stove and table with practiced efficiency, her large frame surprisingly graceful as she orchestrates the morning meal. You help where you can, stirring porridge, slicing bread, arranging fruit on the serving platters. The work is hot and demanding, the kitchen growing warmer as the range works at full capacity. Steam rises from pots and pans, condensing on the windows, making the air thick and humid. The breakfast trays are assembled with mathematical precision. Each member of the family has their own preferences, their own particular requirements. The master takes his coffee black and strong, his eggs soft-boiled, his toast cut into triangles. The mistress prefers tea with lemon, her eggs scrambled, her toast barely warmed. The children, when they're home, eat porridge with brown sugar and cream, their portions carefully measured. You carry the first tray up the main staircase, moving carefully to avoid spills. The china rattles softly against the silver, a gentle music that accompanies your progress. The hallway is still dim, lit only by the gray light filtering through the tall windows. The portraits on the walls seem to watch your progress, their painted eyes following your movement. The master's bedroom is at the front of the house, its windows facing the street. The room is still dark, heavy curtains blocking out the morning light. You knock softly and wait for the muffled response before entering. The room smells of sleep and bay rum, the masculine scents that linger in the air. You set the tray on the bedside table, arranging it with practiced precision. The coffee pot goes just so, the handle turned toward the bed. The cup and saucer are placed within easy reach, the sugar bowl and cream pitcher positioned for convenience. The morning paper is folded precisely, the edges aligned, the crease sharp and clean. The master stirs as you work, but he doesn't acknowledge your presence. You are part of the furniture, a necessary but invisible element of his morning routine. This is as it should be, as you've been trained to be. Your movements are quiet and efficient, your presence unobtrusive. The mistress's bedroom is at the back of the house, overlooking the garden. The room is lighter, more feminine, with wallpaper that shows birds and flowers in soft pastels. The furniture is delicate, French in style, with gilt edges and curved legs. The bed is draped in silk and lace, the coverlet embroidered with tiny flowers. You set her tray on the small table by the window, where the morning light will fall across it just so. The tea service is different from the master's coffee, more delicate, more ceremonial. The pot is porcelain, painted with roses, the cups thin enough to see through. The lemon is sliced paper thin, the sugar cubes perfectly formed. The mistress is already awake, sitting up in bed with her hair in curl papers. She watches as you work, her eyes following your movements, checking for any sign of carelessness or haste. You've learned to work under this scrutiny, to move with grace and precision even when you feel the weight of her gaze. The children's rooms are different, filled with the cheerful chaos of young lives. Toys scattered on the floor, books left open on the desk, clothes dropped where they were removed. The youngest is only 8, the eldest 16 and away at school. Their needs are simpler but no less important to get right. You tidy as you go, straightening books, folding clothes, returning toys to their proper places. The nursery maid will arrive soon to take charge of the children's day, but for now, they're your responsibility. You move quietly, trying not to wake them, but children sleep more lightly than adults, and soon you hear stirring from the beds. The morning routine continues with its familiar rhythm. Breakfast trays delivered, empty ones collected, the family's needs attended to with invisible efficiency. You move through the house like a ghost, present but not seen, essential but not acknowledged. The stairs creak under your feet as you carry loads up and down, the familiar weight of service. The guest rooms receive one final inspection before Lady Pemberton's arrival. You check each detail, ensuring that nothing has been overlooked, that every comfort has been anticipated. The beds are perfect, the flowers fresh, the fires burning brightly in the grates. The rooms look as if they've been waiting patiently for occupancy, ready to welcome their distinguished guests. The afternoon brings new challenges. Lady Pemberton's carriage arrives promptly at 3 o'clock, the horses' hooves clattering on the cobblestones of the courtyard. You watch from the kitchen window as the coachman opens the door, as the ladies emerge in their traveling clothes, their lady's maid following with bandboxes and valises. The front door opens with ceremony, the butler greeting the guests with formal courtesy. Their voices drift back to the kitchen, refined accents discussing the journey, the weather, the health of mutual acquaintances. You listen without meaning to, your hands busy with the afternoon's preparations. The lady's maid will need tea and a light meal, served in the housekeeper's room rather than the kitchen. This is the protocol for visiting servants of rank, a recognition of their position in their own household. You prepare the tray with care, using the second-best china, arranging sandwiches and cake with attention to presentation. The housekeeper's room is more formal than the kitchen, with a carpet on the floor and pictures on the walls. The furniture is mahogany, well made but not ostentatious, appropriate to the housekeeper's position in the household hierarchy. The visiting lady's maid is welcomed with courtesy, her status acknowledged and respected. You serve the tea with the same care you would show to the family, though the setting is different. The lady's maid is a woman of middle years, well-dressed and well-spoken, her manner confident but not presumptuous. She accepts the service with gracious thanks, understanding the protocol of such visits. The afternoon tea service for the family is more elaborate, a daily ritual that requires careful preparation. The drawing room must be perfect, every surface dusted, every cushion plumped. The tea service is brought out, silver and china gleaming in the afternoon light. The cake stand is arranged with precision, each tier holding different delicacies. The family gathers in the drawing room, their voices a gentle murmur of conversation. Lady Pemberton and her daughter are welcomed with warmth, their journey discussed, their comfort assured. The tea ritual unfolds with practiced grace, each movement part of a larger dance of hospitality and social connection. You pour the tea with steady hands, the golden liquid streaming in perfect arcs from pot to cup. The china is delicate, painted with roses, the cups so thin they seem to glow in the light. The steam rises in delicate spirals, carrying the fragrance of Earl Grey and bergamot. The conversation flows like the tea, gentle and civilized. The evening meal requires even more preparation. The dining room must be set for 6 instead of 4, the additional places measured and positioned with mathematical precision. The good china is brought out, each piece inspected for chips or cracks, each one positioned where it should be. The crystal glasses catch the light from the chandeliers, throwing tiny rainbows across the white tablecloth. The menu is more elaborate than usual, designed to impress the guests while appearing effortless. Mrs. Whitmore has outdone herself, planning courses that showcase both her skill and the quality of the household's hospitality. The kitchen is a whirlwind of activity, every surface covered with the preparation for the evening's feast. You help where you can, peeling vegetables, stirring sauces, polishing silver. The work is hot and demanding, the kitchen growing warmer as multiple courses cook simultaneously. The air is thick with steam and the rich aromas of roasting meat, simmering vegetables, and baking pastries. The service of dinner is a complex choreography. Each course must be timed perfectly, each dish presented at exactly the right temperature. The soup course comes first, served in delicate bowls with accompaniments that complement but don't overwhelm. The fish course follows, the delicate flesh perfectly cooked, garnished with herbs from the garden. The meat course is the centerpiece of the meal, a roast that has been carefully tended for hours. The carving is done with ceremony, each slice perfect, each portion generous but not excessive. The vegetables are arranged with artistic precision, their colors bright and appealing, their textures varied and interesting. You move between kitchen and dining room with practiced efficiency, carrying heavy trays, maintaining the rhythm of service. The dining room is warm and bright, the conversation animated, the atmosphere one of genuine pleasure. The family and their guests are enjoying themselves, and this makes all the work worthwhile. The wine service requires special attention. The bottles have been chosen carefully, each one selected to complement the courses it accompanies. The white wines are properly chilled, the reds at perfect temperature. The glasses are filled with precision, not too much, not too little, the ritual of wine service adding to the ceremony of the meal. The dessert course is the final act of the evening's performance. The pastries are works of art, delicate confections that seem almost too beautiful to eat. The fruit is arranged with mathematical precision, each piece perfect, each color vibrant. The cream is whipped to pale peaks, the sugarwork gleaming like spun glass. The family lingers over coffee and brandy, their conversation growing more intimate as the evening progresses. The men retire to the library for cigars and port, while the ladies remain in the drawing room for tea and gentle conversation. The house settles into its evening rhythm, each group finding its own space and comfort. The clearing of the dining room is a major undertaking. Every piece of china must be carefully removed, every glass cleaned, every piece of silver polished and put away. The tablecloth is examined for stains, the carpet swept for crumbs. The room must be restored to its morning perfection, ready for tomorrow's meals. The kitchen is chaos controlled, every surface covered with dishes waiting to be washed. The great stone sink is filled with hot water and soap, the steam rising in clouds that fog the windows. You work steadily, methodically, your hands moving through the familiar motions of cleaning and organizing. The china requires special care, each piece washed individually, dried carefully, examined for damage. The pattern is intricate, painted by hand, the colors still vibrant after years of use. The gold edging catches the light, giving each piece a sense of richness and quality that speaks to the family's prosperity. The crystal glasses are the most delicate task. Each one must be washed in water that's exactly the right temperature, dried immediately to prevent spots, held up to the light to ensure perfect clarity. The fine crystal rings when tapped, the sound clear and pure. You handle each glass with reverence, knowing that carelessness could destroy something irreplaceable. The silver service pieces are heavy and substantial, their surfaces reflecting the kitchen's warm light. Each piece must be washed carefully, dried completely, polished until it gleams. The larger pieces require 2 hands to manage safely, their weight a constant reminder of their value and importance. The hours pass in this rhythm of work and concentration. The kitchen gradually returns to order, each item cleaned and put in its proper place. The floors are swept and mopped, the surfaces scrubbed clean, the range banked for the night. The day's work is nearly done, but there are still tasks remaining. The guest rooms must be prepared for the night. Fresh water for the washstands, the fires built up to provide warmth through the evening, the beds turned down with careful attention to detail. You work quietly, not wanting to disturb the family and their guests as they enjoy their evening. The bed linens are smooth and inviting, the pillows plumped and arranged just so. The night tables hold everything a guest might need, water glasses filled, candles ready to be lit, matches in their proper holder. The rooms feel warm and welcoming, ready to provide comfortable rest after the day's activities. The servants' quarters are quiet as you finally make your way to your own room. The other staff members are finishing their own tasks, the house gradually settling into its nighttime rhythm. The narrow staircase creaks under your feet, the familiar sounds of an old house preparing for sleep. Your room is small and simple, but it's yours. The narrow bed with its thin mattress, the washstand with its chipped basin, the small window that looks out over the servants' courtyard. The furnishings are basic but adequate, everything you need for the few hours of rest before tomorrow's work begins again. You sit on the edge of the bed to remove your shoes, feeling the relief as your feet are freed from their confining leather. Your stockings are damp with perspiration, your uniform stained with the day's work. The white apron is gray with dust and spotted with various stains, testament to the day's labors. The water in your basin is cold, but you wash your face and hands anyway, feeling the grime and tiredness of the day rinse away. The soap is harsh and practical, nothing like the delicate scented soaps the family uses, but it does its job. You dry yourself with a rough towel, its fibers coarse against your skin. Your nightgown is simple and worn, patched in places but clean and comfortable. You remove the pins from your hair, feeling it fall free for the first time since dawn. The brush draws through it smoothly, removing the tangles and dust accumulated during the day's work. The familiar ritual is soothing, a quiet moment of self-care before sleep. The bed is narrow and hard, but it's your own space. The mattress sags in familiar places, the blanket is thin but warm, the pillow small but soft enough to cradle your head. You lie down carefully, feeling your tired muscles begin to relax, your mind starting to drift away from the day's concerns. The house settles around you, its old timbers creaking as they cool from the day's warmth. You can hear the distant murmur of voices from the family quarters, the soft sounds of other servants preparing for bed, the gentle whisper of wind through the trees outside your window. Tomorrow will bring the same routine, the same demands, the same standards of perfection. The fires will need to be laid, the water carried, the silver polished, the floors swept. The guests will expect the same level of service, the same attention to detail, the same invisible efficiency that makes their comfort possible. But for now, in this small room at the top of the house, you are alone with your thoughts and your exhaustion. The day's work has been completed successfully, every task accomplished, every standard met. The satisfaction of work well done mingles with the deep tiredness that comes from hours of physical labor. The sounds of the house grow fainter as sleep approaches. The creaking of floorboards, the whisper of wind in the chimneys, the distant tick of clocks marking the passage of time. Your breathing grows deeper and more regular, your body sinking into the familiar embrace of your narrow bed. The darkness wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying away the worries of the day and the concerns of tomorrow. In sleep, you are free from the demands of service, from the weight of expectation, from the constant awareness of your place in the household's careful hierarchy. Your dreams, when they come, are simple and peaceful. Images of sunlight streaming through windows, of flowers in crystal vases, of silver gleaming in candlelight. The beauty you help create and maintain each day, experienced now without the burden of responsibility, enjoyed for its own sake. The night passes quietly, marked only by the soft rhythm of your breathing and the gentle sounds of the house around you. The other servants sleep in their own small rooms, the family rests in their comfortable beds, the guests settle into their perfectly prepared quarters. The great house sleeps, its many inhabitants finding rest after the day's activities. And in the morning, when the darkness stirs with familiar purpose, when your body wakes before your mind, when the cycle begins again with fires to be lit and water to be carried, you will rise to meet the new day with the same quiet dignity and careful attention to detail that has marked your service for so many years. The routine will continue, the standards will be maintained, the invisible machinery of domestic life will function smoothly and efficiently. You are part of that machinery, essential but unseen, your work enabling the comfort and prosperity of those you serve. But for now, sleep claims you gently, peacefully, carrying you away from the grand house with its many rooms and complicated hierarchies, its upstairs and downstairs worlds, its careful balance of service and privilege. In sleep, You are simply yourself, resting in the quiet darkness, preparing for whatever tomorrow may bring.